We're here at Creek Campground here in Mount Hood National Forest. Let's go check out the campsites. Hello there, gorgeous sun. And I think we got our next one here, 14. You got your driveway. Kind of interesting, you got two ways up. A little bit of a Swiss Family Robinson vibe. Come up here and look at that. I'm pretty impressed at 14, this is cool. Yeah, you got to carry your gear up here, but totally worth it. You got your fire pit, your picnic table, and kind of being off up above against the road. 14 is pretty awesome. I'm impressed. It's only almost too many different directions to know which way to go. So let's say we come down here, see our creek access. Oh, this is beautiful. Yeah, I'm digging it. Camp Creek has a lot of these little waterfalls, which are really high quality. So look at that one right there. You can go right down to the water, and the shoreline even continues on. Do a little shoreline trail, only accessible by campsite 14. If we keep coming down here, yeah, gives you another little section of the creek. And straight ahead there, let's see here if there's any spider webs. And coming out here, here's another perch vantage point from site 14. You can look down on your domain, your campsite 14. Enjoy the beauty of Camp Creek. So I think this is interesting. I'm loving how this is elevated above the road. I'm loving the access to Camp Creek, but I will say it's a little odd. You do have another campsite over there, which I think is accessible from a trail on the other side of that picnic table. So you do have a direct line of sight from that camp picnic table to this camp picnic table. So that's a little suboptimal. That I think notches it down a little bit. Again, you've got this incredible swath of creek to yourself. This is your side access to the creek. It's a beautiful area. It's just a little odd for some reason. They put up both these up here together, and they didn't really worry about breaking the line of sight. Maybe this is a great group play. I'll come up with my top group play recommendations for this campsite, and these two very well might be one of them. So just something to note, that you're elevated above the road, which is awesome. And I'll go back down to where you park down here. A couple little stone-ish stairs. So you're parked down here, and you also have another access point over there, which is to the same area. So they give you two little side trails up to where your picnic table is, but then there is another campsite there. So 14's interesting. I'm really blown away. Gosh, look at that, the sun with these trees. This is a gorgeous area. I gotta say, I'm falling in love with Camp Creek. I think it's pretty awesome. Here is site 15. We've got our driveway. This is a little confusing and misleading. See this picnic table and fire pit? These are actually for 16, which is the site to the left of you. So that is not your area. This is your area, which is actually better for 15. So I'd rather be over here than the one we just went by. So that makes 15 better, maybe 16 a little worse. So you come out here, you got a picnic table, you got a fire pit, right up against the creek. If you can see on the other side of that tree right there, that is a picnic table, that is 14. So you do have a slight line of sight with 14. Come over here, you can put your chairs, whatever you got, cabela's, and come over here and just kind of overlook this beautiful swath of Camp Creek. I would be very careful because this is pretty steep, and I would only try climbing down there if you're an able-bodied person. You can hurt yourself pretty easily. I actually do think, as far as just the beauty of the creek, this is probably your best view right here. Look at that. That is pretty gorgeous, particularly with the sun coming off of it. It's morning and pretty effervescent glow, the glisten on Camp Creek. So I'm digging this. So this is site 15, gorgeous zone. As far as lot lines, remember you got 14 right there, so that's a little bit of a privacy ding. Not horrible, but not ideal. Maybe sets up 14 and 15 is a great group play, probably a top group play here, but I'll keep looking. Again, remember this is kind of weird. You'll walk by this one, you park next to this, and this is 16. So think about how odd this kind of is. This is a weird design. 16's picnic table, 16's fire pit, literally sitting next to 15's car. So I think 15 is pretty awesome, but I think 16 kind of got shafted because I wouldn't want to be sitting at a picnic table 8 feet away from another person's car. That's a little weird. Give you that I'm camping in a Walmart parking lot feel. So to me that rules out 16, but let's go take a look at 16. So here's 16. We've got our driveway, nice long driveway. Park here for 16, and then you walk straight ahead to your fire pit and your picnic table. I would definitely not do 16. Again, there's the parking for 15, so you are literally at a picnic table 8 feet away from somebody else's car. If they're coming back to their car to get stuff a lot, then it's very disruptive. So I would pan 16. It's cool that it's up here against Camp Creek. I mean, this is a gorgeous section of Camp Creek, but I think the privacy lines for the picnic table are so awful that that's a deal breaker. So 16's got a gorgeous section of Camp Creek, and 18, this is going to be up against our feature. You got your nice, large, wide driveway, picnic table, and fire pit. Some really old growth, massive forest trees. Look at this. Really has a mossy rainforest vibe, which I'm loving. And let's come down here. Got a beautiful section of Camp Creek. Don't have like a direct money shot view of it. Let's see if you do over here. So now I'm getting pretty picky, but you don't have a direct money shot view from your site of the creek, although the creek is beautiful. Some of the other ones have a direct money shot where you're like right overlooking it with no obscurities. But again, I'm getting pretty granular, pretty picky at this point. This campground is such an embarrassment of riches that you get to be that picky. So I would say 18, the view from the camp site itself isn't as high quality as some of the other ones. But if you come down here, which I will do, it's like this is a bit of a side trail, connects up actually with 16. So shared side trail with 16. You come down here and look at this. You could bring your chairs down here. That wouldn't be inappropriate. You're at 18, kind of the extension of your dominion. And look at this. See, now this is beautiful. Now this is a money shot. So I'd say 18 doesn't have a money shot per se from its actual picnic table fire pit like campground proper. But if you want to come down this little section with some chairs and sit down here, this is pretty magical. This is probably one of the nicest areas of the whole campground. Pan up here, I mean, look at how beautiful this is. You got the sun peeking through these trees, and then you have this incredible Camp Creek, glistening, crystal clear water meandering down the stream. I gotta say, I'm pretty impressed. So bring some Cabela's chairs down here and cop a squat, bring a book, do whatever you gotta do. Bring a Kindle, do some reading, and pretty epic wonderland zone to kind of hang out in, very zen and relaxing. imagine coming right here, putting your chairs and looking up. And this is a pretty magical area. I think this is one of the highest qualities area at this entire campground, kind of between 16 and 18. I don't like 16 because your picnic table is like 8 feet away from the parking at site 15. So for me, that's a deal breaker. So if I'm picking between 16 and 18, I would pick 18 and just walk down here, and we'll walk back to the site from here. So you see it's nothing too crazy, just a few steps and pretty much back. See the picnic table. So I'm digging 18. Particularly for that spot, I think is key. If you can go down there with some chairs and relax, you're kind of perhaps at the highest quality viewing spot of the entire campground, right on the edge of 18, between 18 and 16. Loving the sun, just peeking through this old growth forest wonderland. This Creek Campground really has a bit of a rainforest feel, which I'm digging. Very green and luscious. And just the air is a little wet from the creek and from this old growth forest. It's got a humid feel, hence all the moss. Here's 13. So you got a lot of road access here. Nice big driveway for your vehicle. And then there's 13. Picnic table, fire pit behind the picnic table. I don't know if you put your tent right here, which is kind of a little close to the road. I'd rather be offset, so maybe there's flat area back here. Almost feels like there's going to be a designed area back up against the creek. Let's walk through this. Thank you, no spider webs. And if I took 13, I would actually probably come down here and put my tent right there, and then you'd kind of have a really cool little the sound of the creek going by. Again, you got to be careful in the middle of the night you don't accidentally walk into the creek. And then you look back, and this is your path to your picnic table. The only other choice would be to put your tent right in front of the picnic table, which is a little awkward because you're then right next to your car. That's really not, and you're next to the bathroom. You help people go to the bathroom in the middle of the night. So that's a little suboptimal. I wouldn't do that. So you can come down here a little bit more so you do have direct access to the creek. And look at that. That is gorgeous. This is the view from spot 13. Imagine if you put your tent right here. This is the annual winterfall. Let's say this gets cleaned up. It's a large flat area. You put your tent right here, and you got the view of the creek that way, and probably obviously the most impressive section of the creek right here down below. Even you can walk down and refill your life boat straw if that's what you got. I gotta say, Site 13 is pretty interesting. And let's hike back from Shoreline of Creekside. And we're walking back to picnic table and the fire pit for Site 13. Site 13 is an interesting play. If you go put your tent down there up against the creek, it could actually be pretty darn epic. And then, you can hang out here and then go sleep next to the creek. I'm feeling it. I think 13 is interesting. Here is campsite number 10. Show you 9's right next to us here. You got a nice long driveway for parking. Oh, this is a great one. You got your fire pit, your picnic table. I will also point out you've got a water pump there and the restrooms either side of this stump. So you've got all the amenities in your close proximity. Again, there's the picnic table, fire pit. This is a pretty massive area. You got a lot of choices where you want to put your tent. A lot of really high quality flat forest. I think the piece de resistance is what's going to be on the edge of this little precipice here. Yes, indeed. The beautiful Camp Creek. There's a reason why this is called Camp Creek Campground, and this, my friend, is Ed. Look at that. Crystal clear water, picturesque old growth forest with iridescent mossy green on the rocks. My gosh, this is really beautiful. It's got that rainforest vibe. I'm digging it. So I gotta say, this campsite right here, site 10, is pretty awesome. I'm pretty blown away. A huge area. It feels nice and expansive. I mean, look at all of this. This is pretty awesome. Pretty epic. It's like there's probably multiple vantage points. You can go down there and put your chairs, or you can put your chairs up here. Do want to exercise caution because that's a pretty steep little drop there. It's not too crazy, but you just got to be careful, particularly at night. That can be very dangerous. But look at that. Ain't it beautiful? Camp Creek. And if you just keep coming down here, this is still on the edge of site 10. My gosh, this is just getting more and more beautiful the more I come over here. Look at that. That's pretty gorgeous. And look at that. That is epic right there. That's a like little unmarked, unnamed waterfall right on the edge of campsite 10. I'm gonna say I am pretty blown away by campsite 10. I mean, look at what you get. Right over there is campsite 10. This is kind of the extended forest of campsite 10. So campsite 10 is legit at Camp Creek. I am digging it. So let's hike back to campsite 10. It's just, you can already see your picnic table right here. So this is just the edge of campsite 10. And that's a pretty epic money shot zone. Beautiful Camp Creek. So still doing my review, but so far Camp 10 is my favorite. But I still have a lot of campsites to go, but I think this is gonna end up being in the top tier. A top 5 pick. Even though 9 is right next to 10, let me show you, here's 10, here's 9. Because of the spacing and a good chunk of old growth forest between you, it really feels well spaced out. So this is 9. Got a nice long driveway, some cool logs, picnic table. This is right up against our feature Camp Creek as well. There's your fire pit. Great spot for the fire pit as far as proximity to Camp Creek. You get a straight shot of Camp Creek right from your fire pit. Imagine sitting here, maybe having some s'mores and looking up and admiring Camp Creek. I'm digging it. I also like the feature of this log. Gives you kind of an area you can sit at a good height, or just kind of lay out your gear. Kind of a cool area. Love that sun peeking through the old growth forest. So right there is 10. So there's a little bit of visibility to 10. It's not perfectly separated, although this section of forest between 10 and 9 is pretty good as far as giving the feeling of, spacing and privacy. Let's continue over here to our actual shoreline access for campsite 9. I'm digging it. You got some white rips. You got this little area to come down here. You got a zen feeling down here. Look at this. This is very cool. For some reason it's giving me a zen garden vibe. I love the iridescent mossy green rocks. These little cascading waterfalls, very beautiful. Let's continue along. So we leave campsite 9. Remember, this is a couple weeks before the start of the season, so it wouldn't be this disheveled. I'm loving the sun just peeking through this old growth forest. This is pretty gorgeous. Here is campsite number 8. This is on the feature side, on Camp Creek side, so that's good. Nice big driveway, that's great. Not big enough for really anything. You got your picnic table, you got your fire pit. Probably put your tent over there. a couple different places depending on how close you want to be to your fire, but probably the area you'd put your tent. And let's come down here and take a look at Camp Creek. Bring your chairs, your Cabela's chairs, whatever you got down here, and look at that. Oh my gosh, that is awesome. That is like a picturesque little waterfall cascade spot. That is very beautiful, and that is literally right here at your campsite, so that's pretty epic. 8 is legit, right up against Camp Creek. Let's continue over here. Looks like a little bit of path. Maybe that's a path over to 9. I'm not sure. Kind of a shoreline path. But here's your swath of Camp Creek. This is your domain, your dominion. If you book campsite 8, I gotta say, let me pan back around. This is gorgeous. Look at these old growth forest trees. Epic and massive. Incredible shade during summer. So this is a great July, August play if it's 80, 90, 100 degrees. And then you got Camp Creek down here. This is pretty epic, I gotta say. It's my first time at Camp Creek, reviewing all the sites, and I'm actually blown away so far. Camp Creek is higher quality than I was candidly expecting.